now. Let's see.
So we are live, I think. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Let's just have a look. Yeah, I think
this is our eighth take, is it? Eighth try.
Yeah, but how do you see it?
So I've got the oh right, yeah, good idea. See on YouTube whether it's come up as a live. I'll check on mine as well.
Well, there's one person watching, but is that you?
Yeah, I like watching myself when I'm live.
Oh, there, are we live?
We are live. There we are.
Yeah. We're live. We're live.
Yeah, I think that one person is one of us watching it. But we'll see people comment if they're interested in what we're saying. Alhamdulillah.
So yeah, how have you been, bro?
Yeah, I've been all right. Not working, so yeah, giving me time to do lots of stuff. You know, you've helped with a lot of the stuff as well, doing a bit of research. But we got a
couple of people coming in now. So yeah, basically,
at least we know we're live.
We was just having a chat, weren't we? And we thought, why not just go live?
Yeah, we're going through the news, really, weren't we? So
yeah. So
I think for me, I don't know if you'll like it, but I mean, I guess lockdown hasn't changed for you too much, has it? In Turkey, changed life, but for me, I've been completely out of work, so it's given me time to do stuff on social media, research, read. So yeah, I've enjoyed it, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, most of the people they may have seen our interview.
Yeah.
On the Young Smirks channel. So it's been a while since I've seen you.
I remember the mashallah. Mashallah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was last summer, right? What was that?
That was last summer, wasn't it?
Yeah. So how's the lockdown been for you? How's it been?
Like I said, I think for me, I mean, I live alone, so it's a bit sad being on your own for this long amount of time. I didn't think it would last a year, but to be honest, like I said, I've always said, yeah, I wish I could go on a desert island and just have no work, no stress, nothing like that. And that's what I've had, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, without the nice surroundings, without the desert island.
We're just speaking about Harry and Meghan, and you know, a lot of the time, people used to confuse me for Prince Harry.
I see that. I think when I came to the park initially, it was Hamza, wasn't it? That people can.
Yeah.
and then
like a better version of Hamza, right?
Yeah.
No, alhamdulillah. Yeah, the first day I met you was in the park with Hamza. I spoke to you, and then Hamza spoke to you. I think you converted shortly after that.
Yeah.
So what do you make of this Harry and Meghan scenario?
Yeah, to be honest, like I don't know.
Are you a royalist, by the way?
Am I what?
Do you support the royal family as a?
Do you know what? I used to like watching the Queen's speech. The Queen's got something about her, but I see to be honest, I see them as a tourist attraction. I'm not really the royal family. I think they are a thing of the past that we're kind of hanging on to.
I remember my cousin was. Many years ago, my cousin was kind of debating me on Facebook, and she was like, the royal family brings so much money to the country, through tourism.
Yeah.
And my argument was that tourism won't stop if we don't have a royal family, because the history is always, the palaces.
Yeah. I think you're right. You've still got the Tower of London. The Tower of London will still be very frequented.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The crown jewels could still be looked at even without the Queen there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard like the taxes would go up if we didn't have the Queen, for example. We'd all be paying more taxes because of the amount of money they bring in. But who really knows? But yeah, I think, I wouldn't say I'm a royalist. It's just like anyone else. It's like, it shows a bit of the history of the country still hanging on, doesn't it? And it's kind of
So what do you make of this Meghan and Harry thing?
So to be honest, can I sit down and watch? It's 2 hours, isn't it, the interview?
I don't know. I've not seen it.
So neither of us watched the interview. There you go. But I have flicked through and I've seen various reviews. See, I'm not the sort of person that likes to read a whole book. Sometimes I'd rather get bits of it and the most important bits. And I think from the thing is with the Harry and Meghan situation, I was aware before of this interview that they were complaining about privacy, and they're not happy with always being out in the open and stuff. But their behavior would suggest otherwise. They go on Beverly Hilltop bus things with that. Who's the guy who does the singing? They did that. They're always in the limelight. They're always doing something. And to be honest, would you have an interview with Oprah Winfrey if you were trying to play everything down and be? I think she's become the most famous woman in the world, and I get the feeling. Do you know Oprah Winfrey was at their wedding, and she'd never even met her. So it kind of just it all seems a very
that's showbiz. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I guess so. What else? The other thing is about them is that they
there's claims of racism, and I mean, you had some thoughts on that.
Yeah,
where there's discussion on what color the baby would be.
Yeah, see, I mentioned you, didn't I? And look, racism. Obviously, we stand against racism, and I think. Thing is, I guess we know being in white families, and I think, to be honest, I can imagine it being in any family. There may be discussion of color of the baby. If my partner was African, I can imagine my mum having a conversation. Oh, I wonder how dark the baby will be. And I think from my
it wouldn't necessarily be like illy intended, would it?
No, exactly. So I think that statement there alone. But am I surprised if there's racism in the royal family? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone would be surprised. But yeah,
it's interesting. You have to hear both sides of the story, don't you?
Well, interestingly, we haven't heard what the Queen has to say. This whole story has just been Meghan and Harry out in the limelight, and we haven't even heard the other side. And people are making judgments and all sorts.
Yeah. So what else has been going on this week?
So my favorite thing was the Charlie Hebdo. You haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I've not seen it. Have you got it?
Can you Google it and have a look, or I don't know if you want to see it.
So you said so tell us a bit about Charlie Hebdo.
Charlie Hebdo, obviously, famously, he's a cartoonist that loves to push the boundaries of free speech, and obviously he did the.
Oh wow!
He did, yeah. You got it, yeah. You got it up. There you go.
The picture.
So he obviously did.
Charlie Hebdo was that. It's the magazine, and they've caused quite a lot of controversy over the years, especially attacking Islam. I remember a video years ago. When the attacks in Paris happened. Because of what some of the things that happened, and so they've been always attacking Islam, but they kind of put it down to freedom of speech, but this has now come to where you've got the Queen. You just sent me the picture. Basically, the Queen's got her knee on Meghan's neck, what happened with Floyd, right?
Yeah.
So that's quite a big image, right? Of racism.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, everyone, when it was done about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Muslims were told, "Oh, it's only a cartoon. What are you guys? What are you so bothered about?" Now we got the Queen. We got the Queen depicted on.
Where's the freedom of speech now, right?
Yeah, we got the Queen depicted. And look, to be honest, if the Queen is as much loved to an Englishman as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is to a Muslim, there's something wrong there. It's the Queen. It's the Queen of England, but people are up in arms about this. How dare you disrespect the Queen on a cartoon? And thing is, this whole freedom of speech, this double standards are mad, and I love seeing it so openly that you see that's really where the Dave and Jeff stuff comes from. It's open hypocrisy, isn't it? It's like you Muslims can't do that. Oh, but we do this. That's the same thing.
Yeah, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I mean, what happened this week as well? It was was it Austria? Not Austria. Switzerland. I think Switzerland banned the niqab.
Yeah. Another country to join.
It was Switzerland, and apparently there's only a very small minority of people actually wear it. It's only about 30.
Even in this country, yeah.
In Switzerland, there's a very small Muslim community there, and it's only like 30. A small amount of people actually wear the niqab, but they just choose to make a whole law on this. And I think the law was passed on Women's Day, National Women's Day, or something like that. And
guess what, John? In Switzerland, they're all wearing face masks right now.
I know. Everyone has to cover their face.
Yeah.
hypocrisy is just,
Yeah.
it's a clear attack against Islam.
See, in France, John, in France, the sisters have to remove their niqab to put the face mask on. That is. Yeah, Nikki Travis says they can wear masks instead, but still, it's like you said, John. It's such a minority of sisters that actually wear it, and there's no reports of them causing any trouble, insecurity.
I seen a great mask. It was basically as a mask, and the mask had a print of a face on it. So it actually looked, and the face.
I think I saw that guy.
It had like a face mask coming down, and it looks like the guy's not wearing a face mask.
Yeah, he's getting told off.
So we should make face masks what look like niqab.
Yeah,
everyone should wear them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That'd be brilliant.
SubhanAllah.
What's the reason they gave, John? Do you know the reason they gave? Because what I find interesting with the niqab is that every country gives a different reason. No one's united on the same, and that shows it's rubbish.
Yeah, I remember when I first came to Islam, because it was such kind of it was very culturally different than niqab. It wasn't something I was familiar with, and the Muslims I was kind of around were always kind of very apologetic about it, saying, well, it's not a part of Islam, when it is clearly a part of Islam. Of course, there's difference of opinion on whether it's an obligation or not for a woman to wear niqab, but it is certainly a part of the religion, and even if a sister chooses not to wear it and she chooses to go just for the hijab, she should still respect the sisters that choose to wear the niqab.
I agree.
And you should understand that it is a part of the religion, that she has a right to wear it. Because these days you're getting a lot of Muslims who are kind of saying, well, it's not a part of the religion, just because they don't follow that particular opinion.
Yeah.
Even though, all the Prophet's wives were veiled, and it was, there's no disagreement on that, but the point is that they kind of, sometimes even Muslims are attacking the concept of
you're right. A lot of brothers were, when I did that niqab video, a lot of brothers in the comment section saying, brother, it's not part of Islam anyway, and it shouldn't be there. And you think, what? Just because maybe your wife's not wearing it, it doesn't mean
we've got a brother, SA, South Africa, maybe, I don't know. He says, Jazakallah khair. Oh, that wasn't the initial comment. The initial comment was, brothers, can you comment on the recent fitna between certain channels, channels for people who are giving dawah, some of the du'at. I fear as a youth worker that the youth will become less closer to Islam due to the fitna. Are you aware of this, Jordan? Have you seen
I am. Do we say the names, or do we just keep it?
I think people know, people who this, is relevant for, they already know who it is. So I don't think. Is
it Wallahi, you're finished? Is that
No, subhanAllah, the sad thing is, there's been a lot of debate and discussion over the past couple of weeks, actually, and it's coming from many different angles. You've got the first one, which began with Mufti Menk, where he did a video knitting. Did you see that?
I heard about it. What is wrong? I don't really understand what was wrong with it, or what happened there.
Neither do I, bro.
What's going on?
Bro, when I seen Mufti Menk knitting, I thought, mashallah, that's a great idea. Like, we're living we're all on lockdown, right? Get the kids away from the screens, get them off the computers, do some knitting, and people made a big thing out of it, saying that it's a feminine thing, that a man shouldn't be seen knitting. And I thought this is very kind of subjective. It's very cultural.
Yeah. So are they going to be saying men shouldn't be washing up next and stuff like that as well?
Yeah. The point is that, don't get me wrong, I understand where the brothers were coming from totally, because there's where people are trying to, the society, especially in the West, and even in the Muslim countries, they're trying to demasculate men. They're trying to
the gender roles. Yeah.
The roles of men and women in society. There's a big discussion on this. And the thing is, I totally understand that there are some, public figures, sheikhs or da'is or, Muslims who are doing feminine things. We get that. But this video of knitting, like, I really didn't have an issue with it. I couldn't understand it, because I used to knit when I was younger. My mom used to teach us how to sew. We had to learn how to knit and sew for scouts, Cub Scouts.
Okay, I'm surprised you're admitting that on live, but there you go. So.
No, I did. We had to make, you learn how to make fishing nets and things like that. It's like a life skill, right?
Yeah.
And it's also like some training. You actually do it in the army as well, believe it or not. It's just like a basic skill. Tying knots, sewing, knitting. These type of things are, things that people learn. So it's kind of began with that. And Brother Gabriel, who I'm a very good friend of, like, seriously, Brother Gabriel, I'm very close to him. I would like to think that I'm one of his closest brothers. I used to live with him. I stayed in his house. He supported me when I was at my lowest. To tell you the truth, I went through a big trial. I actually met him when I was doing some presenting on Peace TV, and I became good friends with him. And just in that time when I was doing the presenting with Peace TV, Brother Gabriel, mashallah, I was going through the toughest time of my life, I have to say, family issues and things like that. And Brother Gabriel, mashallah, he took me into his house. He allowed me to stay with him and his family, and he looked after me. He looked after me for a good few months. And, he was supporting me, and it was a genuine support that he gave me, subhanAllah. I know Gabriel so well. And I also know Mufti Menk. I don't know Mufti Menk as well as Gabriel, but I do know Gabriel very well. And so Gabriel, mashallah, he's doing a lot of work in terms of, a lot of work with the youth. He's been a head teacher for many years. He's been working in education with the youth. So he's really in touch with what's going on with the youth. Yeah. And so he sees it on a day-to-day basis, and also in the office, he sees how, things are changing, with this situation on gender and things like that. So, this has become his calling, basically. Gabriel, he's very educated in this department and very experienced. So this has become his calling. So I think he was a bit eager to kind of comment on something, because kind of dealing with this. But I have no doubt that he was doing it in a sincere way. I really don't doubt his intention. I love Gabriel to bits, and I know.
Did Gabriel go public straight away with it?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, and after that, Sheikh McCarthy also gave a very balanced. He had a balanced discussion. He made a video about it as well, saying that it's kind of a cultural thing, but also highlighting the problems of this as well. And of course, I know Sheikh McCarthy as well, and he kind of set the record straight and kind of gives some balance to it. But I just thought it was a big kind of fitna for no reason, really.
Yeah, it seems like a storm in a teacup, but obviously you'll know more than me. I understand the whole thing about men shouldn't be doing that whole gender mixing and stuff. But for me, my personal opinion would be that Mufti Menk is clearly not supporting that. So if you look at the context of the whole picture, and Mufti Menk likes to engage with the. I think it's one of the good things he does, wouldn't you say? On social media, he sort of engages with the youth and.
Bro, let me tell you, bro, Mufti Menk, right? I'm not really somebody who really listens that much to his content.
Yeah.
But I will tell you now, Mufti, mashallah, bro, I know what he goes through, right? And I've seen the effect of his dawah in Africa. Yeah. When he comes to Sierra Leone, as you know, I do a lot of work in dawah in Africa. He came to Uganda, he came to Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone. And when he comes, he can fill a stadium, and I literally mean, you're talking 80,000 people in the stadium. Yeah. And I will tell you now, since Mufti Menk has been going to Sierra Leone, and because of him going to Sierra Leone, because of Mufti Menk, there's a stronger Islamic identity in Sierra Leone since he has been going there.
MashaAllah.
Because when he fills a stadium, right?
Yeah.
People just feel connected with Islam. They feel that our sheikh has come to see us. They feel a part of the ummah, bro.
That's great.
And you see more sisters wearing hijab, you see more brothers wearing thobes, growing beards. There's such a stronger identity now. So people have to understand that Mufti Menk, okay, he might not be playing the role as a sheikh where he's doing fatwa and sitting down and teaching classical books. No, but he has a different job, bro. His job, mashallah, you know, I'm telling you, man, anyone, I know a sheikh who recently went to Sierra Leone and he had a few things to say about Mufti. And after he traveled to Sierra Leone, he even recognized that, you know, the effort and the change that had happened, you know, because of the work that he'd done. So I think people need to be careful when you choose to publicly correct or attack in some cases, you know, especially a Muslim who's, you know, actually working in the dawah, working to help Islam.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful not to help shaitan against that person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're going to now turn away thousands or hundreds or thousands or millions of people away from that sheikh when there is some benefit to that person. You know, so, you know, I think we just have to be careful when we're kind of speaking about that. Now, when it comes to this brother SA, I think what he was talking about is there's a lot of fitna back and forth between Muhammad Hijab and Brother Sajid and Shamsi and other people and Ali Dawa and this and that. And it just seems like a huge fitna, bro, especially when all these brothers are they're all in the same Aqidah, bro.
Yeah.
Really.
That's what I get on with all of them. That's what I struggle with sometimes understanding. And I do ask them, you know, I do speak to them and I understand their points about each other and things, but you just think, well, like exactly what you said about Mufti Menk, sometimes the bigger picture, I sometimes feel like we're in a fishbowl, like arguing and with the bigger world's going around us. You know what I mean? Like you say, going out and doing that against Mufti Menk, if that's going to sort of, you know, put a bad thing on him, you know, I mean, from what I know of Mufti Menk, he's the only really one that I know in the public limelight that non-Muslims know, you know, non-Muslims engage to him. I think you're right. And from my point of view, I think as a Reaver, I always look at these things, you know, because I'm not knowledgeable at all, but I look at these things, how would this look like to a non-Muslim? Because I came into Islam. If I was looking into Islam and I saw a Sajid Littman video as one of my first videos when I'm looking into it, I'd probably be like, what's going on with this? What's going on with these guys? But but that's not so. Look, I understand their points about defending scholars and things like that. But I always just feel, and you'll know more than me, I always feel there might be better ways of doing this, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially we're looking at it from a different perspective, right? You know, these kind of students of knowledge, like Brother Sajid, you know, is a graduate from
Medina. He's very knowledgeable.
You know, I know the brother, you know, we've had our differences in the past. I hope that he doesn't you know, still hold you know, to that kind of you know, we kind of last time we kind of you know, had a few disagreements on a few things. Again, was it
your knitting? Was it your knitting that was the issue?
No, it wasn't actually. I had there was some knots though, but it was you know, subhanallah, Brother Sajid, I know him very well, and I really you know, loved seeing him, you know, come from Medina and the way watching him progress, you know, and even Muhammad Hijab, you know, these are students of knowledge, you know, people like Muhammad Hijab, Shamsi, you know, Brother Sajid, you know, there's a bit, you know, these guys are studying Islam, you know, these are students of knowledge, you know. We're just doing basic dawah, right?
No, they're the ones we want to be doing dawah. Want doing dawah, isn't it? They're the ones.
The thing is, like, you know, they're very passionate and they're trying to, you know, clarify certain things. But sometimes you have to remember that the majority of the ummah don't have a clue what's going on. Yes. And you know, for new Muslims and newly practicing Muslims and the basic Muslim out there, they don't get it, man. They're confused. You know, and it's just it can actually, as Brother S.A. mentioned, it can, you know, put people against Islam. Like the brother mentioned that we've got big issues with the youth, and these fitna with the students and the du'at, you know, it's not a nice look, you know.
I think that 100%, and I think you're right. And I would you say that, you know, in terms of the youngsters, a lot of it is just getting people to put their head on their forehead on the floor, you know, getting them praying, getting them,
Exactly.
you know, these are the things that, and sometimes I think when you present other things to them, it can cause more division and take them off of that. But yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I understand all the sides, but I like I say, I always think on the bigger picture, there must be better ways. But,
Yeah. So what else has been going on, bro?
what else can we cover?
I've seen the BBC Two show called Mock the Week.
Yeah, I think it'd be good if we could get a panel of 5 people and just take the mick of the week.
I think we could have like a Dawah section, you know, what's been going on the Dawah scene, you know, who's refuting who, what's the latest refutation,
Yeah.
you know? And then we have like the latest kind of, you know, any news about the Ummah, maybe, you know, not necessarily mock it, but you know, we can comment on it and draw light to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard about, you know, the rapper Adrz, I think he's called. I don't know how to pronounce his name, subhanAllah.
Adrz or something.
Adrz, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the brother that realized that music was wrong.
He realized this week, he was on a podcast, he realized that what he's been doing is haram. MashaAllah. You know, and he basically spoke. I only saw it briefly, but he was speaking about how you know, he realizes that this kind of culture that he's in, which is, you know, he's a rapper, and it's like drill music, you know, very dark, evil, not just music, it's violence.
Yeah. And do you know what, John? Like, it sounds funny, doesn't it? When we think he just realized now, it does sound to me. When you told me, I laughed. But I think for me that I can see, you can see these little steps that Shaitan makes you take to get somewhere like that, you know. And it'd be interesting to know what happened with this brother to make him think. Because like I said, I'm on TikTok now, and you see everyone saying, well, it's if the music doesn't have bad words, it's fine. If and you start all of these things, and then it's like a snowball into, and then before you know it, you know, Shaitan's put you into a bigger sin, and you only started off little tiny baby steps, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, one thing I would say to this brother, and I would also say this to anyone, you know, that we're only 4 weeks away from Ramadan.
Yeah,
bro, 4 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
And this is the time for change, you know. SubhanAllah, every human being falls short. Every human being has sinned and done evil things. Every human being has done something wrong. And the best of humans are the ones who come back to Allah, who repent to Allah. You know, and we constantly have to come back to Allah. And Ramadan is the perfect time.
Yeah. I remember I heard it described as a lifeline once by, do you know Issa Frimpong, who passed away? A guy, Ghanaian guy from Suga's Corner. So he did a video, and a beautiful video reminder. He said Ramadan is a lifeline for all Muslims. You know, it's the most merciful gives you another chance to come back, and he said make sure even before then, because you don't even know if you're going to reach Ramadan. You don't even know if you're going to make it to. You know, you said Ramadan's 4 weeks away. Not all of us might not even make it there. And subhanAllah, he passed away before Ramadan. So you know, you can't get much of a bigger reminder than that. You know.
Yeah, I remember, and he actually posted something. He posted about Ramadan, and he's just like, subhanAllah, you never know your time, man.
Yeah.
I think, did he not post it? You never know if you're going to make it to Ramadan.
I think he did a video. I think it was a guy called Bro Haji. It was on a channel, and in fact, I don't know if that was from the year before or that year, but it was posted as a reminder for that year. And then mashallah, we lost him. You know, a couple of weeks before Ramadan. So yeah, and no truer words spoken from him. So
bro, have you seen the comment? What's up?
Oh, Dave. Do you know what? I'm getting really worried. Because no one knows me as Jordan M anymore.
You know, I think I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, and I said to you that I had an idea to do John and Johnny, and it was going to be like the same Dave and who, Jeff? You know, but I just didn't get around to it. And I'm just so happy I didn't even try it now, because the way you've done it, Dave and Jeff, is classic, bro. Mashallah. It's like, you know, I think, has everyone seen Dave and Jeff? Let us know in the comments if you've seen Dave.
If you haven't, yeah.
And let us know what you think of Dave and Jeff. And also, this is also a time to tell you to subscribe, and also put the notifications on the YouTube, because when I first started my YouTube, there wasn't any notifications. There was no bell. Yeah. So most of the subscribers are not actually. You're
going to get a lot of people watching this tomorrow going, I didn't know John was live. I didn't know he went live. You've got to put that bell on.
Yeah, you got to put the bell on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think of? What is it? Jazz and Dave and
Jeff. Dave and Jeff.
Jazz and Dave.
Jeff and Dave.
Jeff and Dave. Muck and Jeff.
Yeah.
So where did it come about? Where did you get the idea from, Dave and Jeff?
You know, it was never ever something I sat down to do. So I joined TikTok, and I normally my DAO is very square. You know, it's very when I say DAO, I have a YouTube channel, and I it was always very, you know, I'm a revert. This is the reasons why I came to Islam. But I joined TikTok because a lot of people were taking Shahada from there. A lot of young people in TikTok. And when I went into TikTok, to be honest, I couldn't quite believe what some of the Muslims were doing on there. So I thought, what content can I do just to at least engage them into Islam, or explain to non-Muslims or Muslims I've been practicing about misconceptions? And I did one video, and when I was younger, I always did the accent. What, mate? Because I hate football. I used to go, yeah, let's go out to footy. Let's go out to the pub and watch a footy, Jeff. And Jeff was just a name that I always used for that. Yeah. so all my mates, I called them all Jeff. And I did one skit where it was like, Islam's so barbaric. Yeah, but what would you do with pedophiles? I'd string them up. And so then some comments were good, and then so I did a couple more, and then someone said, what's the other guy's name? I don't actually know. So I thought, let's call him Dave. And to be honest, that's
I think it's an amazing dawah, by the way. I think, you know, thinking from a non-Muslim perspective, from a white English kind of background, you know, that's the kind of bite-sized information that you need about Islam. Mm-hmm. You're just dealing with one misconception at a time in a very logical kind of psychological way, you know, and the way you do it, it's not, you know, you're not directly teaching, you're kind of showing, you know, and the viewer automatically wants to be Jeff.
Yeah.
You know, because they want to be the educated one, not necessarily the Muslim one, but the educated one. Yeah. And they don't want to be Dave, the uneducated, ignorant one. You know, so I think you pull it off really well. And the famous look.
Yeah, that's kind of kept there. And yeah, look, obviously, I don't do it alone. You know, obviously, I've called you up a few times, haven't I, and grabbed a few ideas off you.
I mean, if anyone's got any ideas for any other
yeah, because you know what, a lot of the Chaz and Dave, a lot of these, some of the early things were things that I had questions. What's that?
You know who Chaz and Dave is?
That's a program, isn't it?
No, it's a singer, I think.
Is it?
I don't know. But if anyone's got ideas for Jeff and Dave, what you think Jordan should do, you know, different ways.
Email me, jordanmspeakerscorner@gmail.com, and I do get people emailing me ideas, and it really helps because I've used up the ones that I had. You know, I didn't know what jihad meant when I was looking into Islam, and these are the basic, because of Sheikh Tommy and Sheikh Anjem Chowdhury, these are the basic misconceptions people have in the country, you know.
Yeah, you know, you see, the brother just said, I like your program, StreamYard. That's because I've got the logo in the corner.
Oh, is that? You've done the cheapskate option where you don't get your logo there?
I'm gonna ask you now, like, look in the comments, in the description below, I've got the what's it called? Patreon. So if you want to donate, what is it? $10? How much is StreamYard? 20. I think it's $20.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, something like that. Have you not started a membership yet, John? Either you can start a membership on your channel as well.
Yeah, I'll start it. But the point is that where is he? Where's the brother? Google website. He should basically be the sponsor of removing this StreamYard logo, inshallah. So, brother,
I love how he's mocking us.
Go down below and hit that.
Yeah, I love how he's mocking us from the StreamYard, and his name's Google.
I know. But yeah, we've got old treasure. Let's see what else we've got. I'm from Indonesia. Mashallah, we've got people tuning in from all over. So yeah, any ideas for Dave and Jeff? What else has been going on, Jordan? What else is going on this week?
Yeah, so
apart from the Queen putting her neck on, I think we should come back to that actually. You know, this Charlie Hebdo magazine where the Queen is putting her knee on the neck of Meghan.
Yeah. Remember that cartoon isn't only. It's not just mocking the Queen. It's mocking George Floyd as well. It's mocking the death of George Floyd. So imagine how many people are going to be up in arms about this. And like I say, all the people that said Muslims, it's freedom of speech. You guys are you're you're barbaric. You're backward. You can't accept freedom of speech. They'll all be on the receiving end now, and they'll slowly shift their mind.
Yeah, it's good because it kind of brings the topic of, this kind of freedom of speech to the forefront as well. It's freedom of speech as long as it's not against Muslims. You can say
100% what you remember. Tommy Robinson, who was wanting to rip up the Quran, or he supported Hatun in the park, who was desecrating the Quran. And so he turned up to give her chocolates because he goes, this you've got the right to do that. And his whole EDL movement started because Muslims were burning poppies outside a homecoming parade. So that the hypocrisy is it's like laughable when you look at it. It's laughable, the freedom of speech stuff.
Yeah. And have you seen? What do you think about this? Have you seen that coverage of that woman that's been murdered by the police officer? Have you seen that?
No. What's that?
Where have you been, Jordan?
Yeah, I've been doing Dave and Jeff sketches.
Basically, there's a white woman who's been kidnapped in Brixton, and she was murdered. She was missing for a week, and they found out it was actually a police officer, and it was a high-level armed police officer, someone who kind of protects the embassies and things like that. And there's been massive protests in London this week, even the past couple of days. Literally thousands of women, kind of making it.
I did see the protests. I saw lots of around Women United, and I thought it was a feminist movement or something. Yeah.
It kind of is,
Okay.
But the point is, they were in protest for this woman. But some people have commented saying, well, people are murdered in London every day, but the difference is that most of them are black or poor.
Yeah.
When a middle class rich white girl gets murdered, not to take anything away from that, at all, but there seems to be kind of the way that this case has been treated very seriously. A lot of manpower or woman power, if you like, put into it to try to get to the bottom of it. So that's quite an interesting thing as well.
Yeah, I think we got to be going. I won't comment too much until I look into all of that. But I think the grooming gang is an example where horrific crimes, but it was all about, targeting the brown man who is abusing our children, and so it turns into so people are grabbing onto crime sometimes to then suit their movement or their agenda, and I often think that's a disrespect to the victim. Yeah, I'm not saying that's in this case, but I'd like to look into it more. But
yeah, what's interesting, there was complaining about the chief of police, and the chief of police is also a woman.
Oh wow!
It's quite.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It'd be quite an interesting reflection to wonder if she'd actually,
what's the feminine? What's the angle on this? Are they saying that because she's a woman, if she was a man, it would have been? What's the deal? What's the angle?
They're basically saying that women should be able to walk the streets safely. But what about the men? What about all these kids who are living in, these estates? They're carrying knives, which arguably out of protection because it's so dangerous on the streets. Trust me, it's really dangerous in parts of London, right? What are you doing about that? But a white woman gets killed. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from that. It should be treated seriously. But why is all the other problems not treated seriously as well?
Do you remember we had those the hijabis stabbed in France? Just for being hijabis and stuff. I don't remember protests or anyone talking about that.
Yeah. So, what's next, bro?
Yeah. See, I'm very selective with my news. I click it if I'm interested in it. But I think the Meghan and Harry and the Charlie Hebdo this week for me have been so interesting that I'm thinking of doing some content on them. Maybe the Charlie Hebdo thing could be a Dave and Jeff. Where Dave's furious that the Queen's been depicted in this way. But hang on a minute, you told me that that
so Dave's
free speech. So yeah.
So that's interesting. Dave's a royalist
because Dave loves the Queen. Dave would die for the Queen.
Yeah. You should maybe mention that the Queen's living in like the biggest council house, and just taking all the taxpayers' money.
yeah.
Well, yeah, alhamdulillah. Let's see. We've got a few comments here as well.
Unfortunately, I feel that if the woman was of color, I think the uproar would be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So white women should be allowed to walk safely, but the other ones, so.
Yeah, this is it. Let's see here. We've got brother mentioned Switzerland abandoning the cab on International Women's Day.
They banned it on International Women's Day as well. That's got to be that's classic. That is because I'm assuming then the reason Switzerland have banned it is because they think it's oppressive. Because I've heard security issues, integration of society issues, oppression. So there's so many different reasons, and so many countries have banned it. I'm always interested. What's the reason they've done it? Because they basically got no reason to. Because like you said, the sisters have done nothing wrong. I bet have they even asked the sisters whether they've been forced to wear it or not, or have they just assumed that Muslims are forced to wear a niqab?
Yeah. So I want to come a bit to your. I want to speak a bit about tennis because we was actually speaking about these gender roles and also gender movement at the moment, and I actually pointed out to you about the transgender MMA fighters.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I watched that. That was hilarious.
But you told me about the transgender, not the transgender, but the tennis player. You said he was like 600 in the tables or something.
Yeah. So there was women and men in tennis get equal prize money, and it's sort of something that women saw it as a big thing. And then Serena Williams, who's like the best tennis player, said, I want to play the men's tournaments because women are just as good as men. Because obviously the argument is, why should you get paid as much? You don't play as long. You get less spectators, and you're not as good. So Serena Williams, who wins everything in the women's, so they set up a match, her and her sister, and amazingly, no one knows about it. People that like tennis know about it, but there was this German guy who was like 600 in the world, and he beat them one after the other, Venus and Serena, 1-6 love and 1-6-1. Easily, this is a guy 600 in the world who's probably barely making a living off tennis, beating the number one, who's getting paid just as much as Nadal.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
It's interesting because there's this thing of transgenders as well, being able to actually play in sports. Ridiculous.
That whole movement, there's something wrong with it at the moment. I don't know if we'll come back to that. Have you heard of this super straight movement at the moment?
No.
So basically, what's happened is, and it's a big trend on TikTok, and I think it's gone further. So basically, transgender people are claiming, not all of them, but there's a movement claiming that if a man doesn't want to sleep with somebody who looks like a woman, but they were born a man, they're transphobic. If you only like the opposite gender, you're transphobic. So now there's been this whole movement of people saying I'm super straight. Don't discriminate me. I only like, men are saying I only like women. Please don't discriminate. And there's all these videos kind of doing that, and it's like a movement.
So what about normal straight? What does that mean these days?
Yeah, I think people are having. You have to be called super straight now, and it's extreme. And it's to be straight is an extreme position to take.
What about
it's very discriminatory, John. It's very discriminatory if you're
as camp as a row of tents.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, and it's the same thing with the sport, where men are beating up women, and people are clapping in the crowd like no one was comfortable with this. But it's a movement that just keeps going, So firstly,
the one started the claps was her husband.
Yeah. I don't know. That is a worry. The world's going mad, and to be honest, the super straight movement is an example of a pushback, I guess, because there's only so far this can go. I mean, I'm all for the rights of everyone, and we live in a society where people are transgender, and everyone should be respected. But it gets to the point where, a bit like where feminism's gone, where all of a sudden you're allowing an MMA fighter to beat up a woman in a ring. I mean, that is. With the one you sent me, it was like 20 seconds long. He just got the knee to bosh in her face, and
the rest wasn't even jumping in. He's just
and I think I saw that she had a cracked skull. So it was only a 20-second fight. She had a cracked skull, and the guy's celebrating. What girl is celebrating on that win? So I don't know, John. I don't know.
I mean, I don't. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say,
and like I say, I always clear that everyone deserves respect, and I'm not anti anything. I just feel that the equality thing goes too far the other way. When you're,
yeah. What else, bro? What's been happening this week? This is Mock the Week, bro. This is
I think we've
a new show.
We're covering everything at the moment, aren't we? We're covering everything. What else has happened?
What's the lockdown saying in UK right now? I'm in Turkey.
And, that's a good point. So the lockdown will end on the 29th of March. But I drove up to London yesterday.
Gradual ending, or
it'll be gradual. It'll be like tailoring off. So there'll be rules. I went up to London today. I drove into London, and I saw 3 people getting stopped by police, getting tickets. And so people, police are checking people out. If you're out there without a reason, you're getting fined. Which I agree with, to be honest, because I think we're locked down.
It's a full lockdown in London.
It's a full lockdown, yeah.
So I've got I'm in Turkey, and I'm in. They've just ended it's never been a full lockdown, but it's been when the restaurants were not open, so it's only takeaway only.
That's a killer. I miss the restaurants. That's a killer.
Yeah, the shops are open, but then you had to be indoors by 9 p.m. and also weekends from 9 p.m. Friday until Monday morning. You're on lockdown, but but everything's open now in Turkey.
What do the police do if you're caught? Because I remember seeing some in India, some footage. People getting caught with just getting hit with a stick.
No, I actually got caught with my face mask halfway down. I was actually on the coach, and they stopped the coach because they seen me on the coach with the face mask down, and they got on, and he just took my passport details. He said you get 3 chances, and then you get fined or something. So also the police, they told me to put it up once it was falling down, and so they're quite strict, but they're okay now. They're easing up in Turkey.
Yeah. You know what? And they talk about police, like people are saying the police are harsh. I mean, go abroad. The police just, and I think that you know what, there's pros and cons, because you don't want to get to the point. Sometimes I think in England, like I saw a video footage. It was either this week or last week, and this was actually on national TV. And it was a woman. It was a woman trying to arrest an old man, and he just shrugged her off and walked off. And she couldn't do anything. She tried to chase him, and she was literally waddling like some kind of a, and he just walked off around the corner. And so his example were, I mean, obviously there's different conversations there, but I think the police should be in a position where if someone's doing something, they can act properly and accordingly. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about the injections? There's a lot of discussion about that right now.
Yeah, and I got told off because I did a Dave and Jeff sketch about that, because I kind of regardless of your view on the vaccine, I notice a lot of vaccinators are the usual kind of potheads. I don't want to then kind of ones that are happy to do weed and stuff like that. And I always think they're saying, no, what we put in our body is really, really important. And the next thing you know, they're doing some that's a generalization. I understand actually the anti-vaccine argument, and I don't trust Pfizer and people like the next person, but I just feel, for me personally, if me taking the vaccine is going to save lives of old people or people that are in need, I'm going to take it, even if there's a risk of side effects.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all going to be forced to take it at some point. I mean, and
yeah, see, that's where I don't know about that, like forcing someone to take it. Yeah, I understand it, but
yeah, especially I mean, I've heard that in order to go to Hajj or Umrah, it's going to be made obligatory as well. As I said, I don't have an issue with it generally, but I'm going to try to wait for the Mark 3 or 4 see how it pans out.
So you got all the guinea pigs. All the guinea pigs are now, and then they're all right now.
In the UK, try it out.
No one's got an extra head. I got completely ravaged in the comment section by anti-vaxxers. A lot of them Muslim as well. So I try to not, because I understand a lot of people have done a lot of research on it, and a lot of people are skeptical, and I get that. I do get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I was speaking to, a brother. I don't want to mention him by name, but he's one of my neighbors. And there's a lot of skepticism, of course, rightly so as well, especially amongst the African American community, because historically, it's been proved and admitted by the American government that they have tried certain tests specifically on the African American community. So it's true. I mean, they have used done these type of trials before without people even knowing, and even the UK, they used they've used it before, and they've used it in war. They've used chemicals in war. They've used diseases as well. It's known and documented that they've used these type of strategies for, and well, not necessarily war, but conquering in the British Empire when they were conquering the world.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that type of skepticism and concern, but at the same time, I do find it very difficult to kind of believe that there's a big conspiracy behind it. I mean, I don't believe everything we're being told is true. I don't believe it's quite what it might be, but at the same time, I do agree with the vaccine. I think people should do it. And I think
another interesting point, John, is that I don't know if you've seen the stats on like black or Asian men, or I think women as well, but the death toll so much. COVID has affected and attacked minor communities a lot more, minority communities more than that. And I don't know if that's the virus itself, or whether that is I don't know. I've read things saying that black people and Asian people may have something internally which makes them more susceptible to it. But there are movements out there to suggest that the government haven't done enough for that, because that's an issue, isn't it? Imagine if more black and Asian. I mean, I think some of a lot of the far right have come out and said, "Oh, it's because you Muslims all congregate. Oh, it's because you all got big families." But certainly the stats show that COVID has affected minority communities more than white.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Crazy stuff, man. We'll see how. I hope that the lockdown does kind of. I hope this is the final lockdown. I hope it does end for the UK. in March, and I hope you know, things start clearing up, because it's been difficult personally for me. It's been very difficult, you know, this lockdown. You know, especially last year. You know, I was just stuck in the UK. I couldn't get back home where I was in Uganda at the time. It was difficult with family. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a traveler. You know, I'm someone who travels a lot, so it's been difficult just to sit down and be stuck. And you know, my Africa projects in Sierra Leone and Ghana and Uganda it's all on hold. You know, it's
that must be tough.
I can't do anything right now. You know, that's it. You just gotta wait.
So all the charity stuff, is it just a no-no for all of it? They stopped all of it?
Well, it's difficult because I can't go there. You know, I don't want to start building a school and not be able to be there to monitor it.
Yeah.
And just the whole concept of traveling right now, I don't want to get stuck in a place, you know, for another year, and you can't move, you can't travel. You don't know what's going to happen, you know. So you just really wait till things open up.
Yeah. Do you think? I think one thing that'd be interesting from this COVID is how mental health can affect people. And I mean, do you know the alcohol level's gone up in the UK? Alcohol consumption's gone up, so people are buying more. And you think the pubs are closed? The pubs and clubs are closed.
Well, they get more money as well.
Yeah, the government's giving them money. And do you know what? Well, I click here, John. I go on to get my online shopping. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying it's cheaper in Asda than in the pub.
It's true. That's a good point. Do you know what? I do my online shopping, yeah, and the first thing that pops up is alcohol, and there's a deal. There's a deal on it, you know. And so clearly, yeah, it's being fed out there to the masses, and you know,
buy one, you get one free. I said you buy one.
Exactly. Have you tried raspberry vodka? Revolutionary, you know, it's tasty. It goes with your dessert. And
was you a drinker in Jahiliyyah before Islam?
I was. I quite liked, on a hot day, I liked a cold beer, which you could still have, can't we? Obviously Beck's Blue or whatever it's called.
The 0% one.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think when I did drink, I did go big. You know, when I used to go out with friends and stuff, and I remember never having a good night. You know, because you just get drunk, don't you? And you just end up doing silly stuff. And I don't miss it, to be honest.
Has my screen frozen?
Either that, or your is it a ventriloquist you call it, or because you're still talking?
Has it frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay, give me a minute.
How do we get out of that? Because it's a lovely smile, though. You can keep you like that.
Keep everyone entertained. I'm coming. Just one moment.
Yeah. Can I just mock the smile that you're doing? We can have let's have a guess. What would, if you look at John's face now, what was he just found out? He's looking at the screen. What would you say he's just found out when that reaction he's doing now? What do you guys reckon? Dave's item cart is unrevealed. Yeah. Dave's still got a hangover from his last one. He looks like he's knitting. That's a good one. He does, actually. So that's John's knitting face. All right.
Can you? Has it stopped freezing now? What's going on?
Oh, someone's saying you look like you've just heard a joke but didn't quite understand it.
Let me put you on.
He just won a game. Yeah, I quite like that. They're good ones. I heard a joke but he doesn't understand. So that time when you have to laugh, you're like, yeah. Walaikum salam, Sarah's T Hubbies. Going with the flow. I was kind of thinking he looked like he just heard a joke that he found funny, but then realized as a Muslim he shouldn't really find funny anymore.
Okay, well, I'm still freezing right here.
I'm not sure what you can do. You've turned your camera off and on? Have you done all that?
I could do one more.
If you go to Cam and Mike and then a brain freeze. Yeah, he looks like he's just, or maybe he's just eaten a whole lemon. Maybe he's got a lemon slice in his mouth.
Oh, come on, guys.
He just read.
Let me, hopefully, we've resolved the issue. I think we've done it.
You're back. You're back.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're back in the room. Back in the room.
Mashallah.
Do you know that one from Little Britain?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're back in the room.
I only started watching that recently. Someone recommended it, and for the Dave and Jeff said you might get some ideas from it. So I started watching it.
Yeah. So yeah, alhamdulillah, bro. It's been a pleasure catching up with you.
Yeah, it's been completely random, wasn't it? We were just having one of our normal chats, and we thought let's share it with people and just going through the news. It's
good, just seeing you kind of progressing, through Islam. I've seen you, met you when you was a non-Muslim, and see you come sort of accept Islam and how you're doing dawah. The Dave and Jeff has been fantastic. Just before we go, let's just speak about TikTok, because this is a new platform which is quite a controversial one. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, you started your TikTok and it kind of blew up, right?
Yeah, I mean the TikTok is really. I only had really a few subs on YouTube, and then I joined TikTok, and it jumped up to something like 60,000 or 50,000 in 5 weeks. And so, and to be honest, I was always anti TikTok. I thought it can't go near that because it's all about it's basically encourages you to play music, do trends. There's women on there. It's fitness central, but the thing is, it's littered with young Muslims. They're on it everywhere, and you see hijabi sisters doing all sorts of stuff, and it made me realize as a revert that not everyone's not. You can't go through life expecting everyone to be on this a high level of iman or something like that. And so dawah, it makes you look at dawah differently. So I kind of thought, what can I do that maybe just to get these guys maybe engaged a bit? And that's where I started doing content that was probably for me uncomfortable. Like I'd never done stuff. I'm not a comedian. I didn't think particularly funny, but it was an area that I thought this might work. And so comedy is actually an area what I'm looking into now as kind of a dawah option. But yeah, I think TikTok. I'm currently banned on TikTok for a week. Muslims are getting banned left, right, and center. Ali Dawah's been kicked off. You can say, to be honest, I don't even know why I was banned. They'd say I do get community guidelines. Like I did a beat the wife, Dave and Jeff, and they said that was hate speech. What else did I do? I did a response to someone who says they effing hate religion, and they said the Bible causes more deaths, murders, than the Holocaust. So I responded just saying, well, if we didn't have religion, we would have, this at school, this here, and my video got banned. So it's very much a liberal platform that religious views are seen as extreme. But like I say, the thing is, for dawah, I've found it effective. I've seen a lot of shahadas on there and stuff like that. So it's weighing it up. I don't promote TikTok. I don't tell people to go there. I'd much rather bring TikTok to here. But at the end of the day, it's a platform. There's lots of Muslims there, and so I feel like if some people are there doing dawah, it's a positive thing. Yeah.
No, I was kind of against TikTok in the beginning. I'm not really on TikTok. I have an account, but I don't really go on it.
Yeah.
But I think I froze again, right?
Yeah, we can have another guest now. This one will be even funnier, John. This one.
Yeah, subhanAllah. So, I was a bit against TikTok in the beginning because of, it just seemed pointless. But as you said, there's so many youngsters on there. Someone needs to be there. Someone needs to be kind of reaching out to them you know, in the hope that, you know, they can get some of the message.
Yeah, I agree. Because you know what, I want to show people that you can, you know, you don't need to have music in your videos. You don't need to be half naked for your content to be good. Because Muslims get on there and I think they feel they need to do that, and it ends up almost compromising their deen, you know. And it's scary to see, but this is the reality of the world that we live in. You know, people's role models are musicians. People are watching stuff that's not Islamic, and young people are watching it, and they get caught up in it. And I think for me, rather than getting angry and, you know, telling everyone it's haram, trying to be maybe a bit creative and providing something that's halal that maybe they can see actually. And I've had people, you know, come on my lives on TikTok and say, "Oh, I much prefer it." You know, you're doing fun stuff which is still halal, and I think that's what I try and do on there.
Yeah. MashaAllah, bro. Well, I think we'll call it a day. I'll call it a night.
Alhamdulillah.
We look forward to maybe we can catch up next week. We'll do another week. Let's speak about some of the events of the week.
Yeah, we'll keep up with the news.
Non-Muslim events, and you know, maybe we can shed some light and just, you know, put a few comments. Our 10 pence, as they say, or 2 pence.
Alhamdulillah.
But yeah, it's good to see you, bro.
It's been a pleasure.
So I'll see you soon, inshallah.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
And just before we go, 1 minute, just before you go, guys, go on to the someone's asking what's the internet like in Turkey. Very bad. You know, please like and subscribe, comment, you know, as long as it's a good comment. If you don't like it, click the dislike button twice. If you do like it, click the like button once. And also click the notification and the bell, inshallah, so you can be informed. Also, go to the Young Smirks channel as well, because I'm going to be starting the Young Smirks up again, because it's been off for over a month because, you know, because of the lockdown, I didn't have any guests. So I'm going to be starting that up live again on the Young Smirks channel. And also, inshallah, next week, I'm going to be starting another show with Brother Fahad Taslim. He's going to be a regular guest, as well as Abu Ayyub, a brother from Kuwait. We're going to be speaking about Christianity, dawah to Christians, but from a different perspective. It's not going to be the usual Bible heavy dawah. It's going to be mainly focused from the Quran, and we're going to be looking into how the Prophet ﷺ gave dawah to the Christians, and also the Islamic perspective of this as well. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. So make sure you tune into that. That's myself, Brother Fahad Taslim. We might also be, I spoke briefly to Abdul Green today. So he's interested in coming on and sharing a few things. So inshallah, you know, we'll try and approach Christianity from a different perspective, rather than, you know, the usual kind of Bible bashing, smashing, and cashing and doing everything, you know.
Mashallah.
So inshallah, Jordan, keep your eyes out on the news. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, be good.
For Harry and Meghan, let us know how they're doing next week.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah. So I'll see you soon, bro.
See you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.